Today, we're going to be talking about the IGN 22 minutes of gameplay that they released earlier today. They have some BioWare people there present, and they're going to be talking about the game and, just the development and other stuff. Two things that I want to talk about first before we go into this. This is very spoiler heavy, so I'll just run down the things that are talked about in the actual video. And then when I actually watch the video, we'll basically be skipping through for the important bits. And the second thing is the combat looks good, and I'm kind of unhappy with some of the writing. We'll get into it further on. So, the things that are talked and shown here. We go into more detail regarding how companions handle quests. It looks really good. Basically, companions will actually, if you don't want to have a companion with you for the quest, they'll actually go there and then wait for you there, and then you can do the quest without them, and it's fine. You are not forced to use a specific party composition for the companion's quest. Secondly, we get a little bit more of a demonstration of mage gameplay, which is pretty nice. We get a good demonstration of that. And finally, the last thing, we get to see very up close a Kunari Rook, which looks terrible. Genuinely fucking awful. It looks like a regular person with horns, and it's awful. That's not what a Kunari is supposed to look like. That's not what anybody wanted the Kunari to look like. I don't know who decided that the Kunari should just look like regular people, but they were wrong. You shouldn't have listened to them. I'm gonna have some more criticism regarding some animations and some writing stuff that I personally am not a big fan of, but we'll get further into it. Overall, it looks really good, but let's get right into it.
Age to Veilguard's gameplay. I'm here with BioWare lead developers Corinne Bush and John Epler. Corinne, what are we looking at today?
So, Kat Bailey is the person talking on the IGN side. We've got Corinne being the game director and John Epler, the creative director from BioWare.
Hey all, so today we're going to be helping out one of our companions, Davrin.
So I don't want to listen to them talk about the actual story stuff. Let's just get right into the conversation that's going to happen with Davrin. This is spoiler-esque because it's going to be his companion quest, but this shows some of the stuff that I want to talk about, and it's important. So let's get into it.
Something wrong?
First off, Asan looks awesome. I really like Asan. He looks a little young, but that makes sense.
Place called the Cauldron was attacked. That's some sort of...
This is just not a Kunari. I don't care if you like this design. I genuinely don't care. This is not a Kunari. This is not what we've been shown. Even as early as Dragon Age Origins, where the Kunari weren't even fully realized and they kind of just looked like regular people but really tall, Sten looked more like a Kunari of, Dragon Age after it's been fully conceptualized than this guy does. This guy is not a Kunari. I hope that this is just the guys from IGN being absolutely terrible with the character creator, but with what we've seen of Tash, I'm not thinking that that's the case, and I'm very disappointed with the appearance of the Kunari.
Grey Warden Tavern. It says...
Davrin, on the other hand, looks absolutely awesome. I really like him. I think he's got the right vibe. Very, very strong warrior vibes from him. I like the voice actor. He's giving it a good cadence.
Secret Warden readout. No idea what goes on there.
I also like the hairdo. I like that they didn't go for the same side locks that we see in so many black characters nowadays. Which at this point it's just such an overdone hairdo that I'm just glad we didn't get that again. He looks really nice. I like the fade shave. I like that.
Involved? Because whatever.
Apparently this is the Gillenane Valazlin. I wouldn't know, but hey, it kind of fits considering that Gillenane is very tied to the Blight. So it's kind of funny that he's wearing the Gillenane Valazlin.
Whatever attacked it sounds like the Gloomhowler.
Apparently there's this creature that's been hunting.
Earlier in Davrin's arc, you were introduced.
Apparently there's this creature that's been hunting Grey Wardens. I don't want to let the IGN guys talk because they talk a lot of spoilers.
Same thought. What's left of the Wardens are still licking their wounds.
Yeah. This is after the attack on Weishaupt that we saw in the high-level gameplay. So this follows that, and apparently the wardens are still recovering from that battle. Asan is very opinionated.
Hey, boy. Listen to every word I say. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything dumb, and don't eat any.
I think we get the point.
Lancet and Remy told me there's a word for.
I like his. I like the way he moves. He's very sharp with his animations. It gives me Garrus vibes. So far, I'm looking at him and I'm getting the same vibe that I got from Garrus Vakarian in Mass Effect. Very much loyal, kind of taciturn, lacks social skills, but you know he's good and he's gonna get to the point. He's gonna get the job done, and he's gonna be by your side the whole time. I like that.
The bond between a griffin and warden moving as one. Turlum. Until Asan and I have that, I'm supposed to keep him safe.
I have to say that I find the Griffin adorable.
Yeah.
And very importantly, I know this is a question on everyone's mind. Yes, you can pet Asan.
Well, thank
that is
goodness for
important.
that. And
That's
all
a very
right,
important
what are we
thing
going to
that
be
we
doing
need to
next?
He's up for this.
All right, we're gonna finish getting this information from Davern on the Gloomhowler, and
Yeah.
we'll be off to.
Maybe. Sit up.
So let's skip ahead, because now they're going to be talking about some other stuff. Oh, one thing that I wanted to see, because this was something that some other people talked about, seeing that I missed the first time I watched this. Or is it further on ahead? Ah, there, right there. Apparently, we have some amount of confirmation that maybe, you know, Varric, our boy, might still be alive. You can actually see him on the minimap right there at the top right in the Illuvian room. So,
Gonna take us to Solus's
let's continue.
pocket area of the crossroads, and it might look a little bit different from what you've seen in Trespasser.
So
Can you
this
tell
is
us a
this is
little-
basically just the place where you start the
little bit
missions
about-
from.
Yeah,
Very
so the crossroads.
very basic, but let's skip forward to the actual combat because we're finally getting a little bit more unedited footage of high-level mage combat, and
work
I
with
think
this
that we all have been meaning to watch that.
Into
So
combat here,
let's see here.
and this time we're playing as a mage. Now, mage is one of my favorite classes
So,
to play.
as you can see-
it's primarily
as you can see, you've got your dodge. I'm just going to mute so I can talk. As you can see, you've got your dodge. It's a little bit of a teleportation. You've got your charge attacks. As you can see, he hits really hard, but you'll see later he doesn't have that much damage resistance. Every time he gets touched, his health goes down to like a third of what it was. So right here, they're showing the radial menu again,
He's on
where
hand.
things pause.
You may notice something about the Darkspawn too, that they look a little bit different than they have previously, and part of that is because Gillinane, who has always been focused on using the Blight as essentially a crafting material, a way to alter life itself, has been enhancing and changing these Darkspawn as part of her army.
Corinne, I noticed that you were doing it.
So as you heard there, Gillinane is the one in control of the Darkspawn now, likely going to be the reason why we're getting a double blight. But one thing I will say, the overall time to kill, like see here, the thing's health just going down. The time to kill seems very satisfying. The enemies don't feel like damage sponges, and so far, and this could just be like due to a lack of context, but I'm not getting the sense that we're going to be having to worry about being under-leveled to fight a specific monster that is in one of the starter areas, which was a very common thing that happened in Inquisition, where, you know, you start the hinterlands and then, you know, you spend like the first 20 hours of the game just trying to level up there so you can kill all the monsters there and move on to the next area. And it was very frustrating, very annoying. I don't think that that's going to be happening here. Plus, they stated that that's not the case, too. Here we have a little dialogue between Harding and Neve, where Harding finds out that mages rule Tevinter, and so the Templars can't really do much when there's a blood mage. But overall, this is the crossroad area. This is basically the way you're going to be exploring the world. You go through the crossroads, and then you unlock a new area, and then you can fast travel from the lighthouse to that area directly. So we're now in a warden stronghold, the Grey Hold, and we get to see a few Grey Wardens here. I'm not super certain I like the overall depiction of the Wardens as just a regular standing army, considering that in previous games, the Wardens were represented as a organization where every single one there was a main character, pretty much. Every single person in the Wardens is a hero. They're peerless warriors, all of them. And so I didn't like them in Inquisition all that much, but, it was still good. And, here we get a little bit more of them being just normal people and just normal soldiers, and I feel like there should be a little bit more of that, right? They're going to show here the merchant, and you see here the power of the Wardens. You can make them stronger to get better loot and better help from them, better items when you buy their stuff, and you can rank them up here using reputation and materials, which is pretty nice, because then you can buy nicer stuff from them. You need to be at a certain reputation threshold. The reputation is not spent, and then you need to spend materials to do it. But they're going to show us some items here, and something that I like here, at least this might be wrong, but I don't think it is. You upgrade the rarity of the item, and then you can upgrade the item itself here. So this, I think, is to increase the stats of the item, and then the rarity is to upgrade it based on other, like, unlock extra properties of the item. But one thing I'm noticing here is that it feels as though we're back to how it was in Origins, where items have meaning, where you go to a specific place and you find the specific item that you want with the specific traits that you want, because it's always going to be there. It's a unique item. It's going to have the same stats as any other item of the same level. And so there's none of the kind of randomness to gear leveling as was in Inquisition, which I don't know if this is just me, but personally, I hate that stuff. I hate it when I'm in an RPG single player and I get an item and that item is not the same as it would be if I were to pick it up again 5 seconds later. I hate that stuff. It takes me out of the game. It just feels so right? It feels as though it's an artificial means of forcing me to keep playing the game to get a better item. And I don't like it in a single player game. In a game like Diablo, Destiny, that perfectly fine, but in a game like this, I hate it. It's also one of the reasons why in games like World of Warcraft, I'm very much a classic Andy, where the items were always the same, no matter if you pick up the tattered, not tattered, like the sharpened longsword. If you pick it up like here, it'll be the same as if you pick it up over there. It's just my way of seeing things. So I like that about this. It looks very nice. And here we see him upgrading that, and then we see here, actually, I want to show this here. We can see here that upgrading the item's rarity from common, where it has none of its properties unlocked, to uncommon, it increases its base stats slightly, and then it unlocks the first property there, which is really nice. I like that a lot. Where you're upgrading the items in order to unlock all of their properties. And it seems as though we now know for a fact that the maximum rarity you can increase it to is legendary, because it's here as epic, and then he upgrades it, and it's gone. Now it's legendary, can't be upgraded in terms of rarity anymore. It can probably still be upgraded. You can put more pluses on it, most likely, to make it a little stronger, so you can keep using it at higher levels, but the rarity maximum is legendary. It's most likely just the common white to green to blue to purple to orange. So basically common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. Just regular stuff. I like it. I like being able to just know this stuff instantly without needing to worry about this other stuff, like trying to realize what the nomenclature of the specific game is. Like, we already understand the color coordination. It's already been popularized by World of Warcraft. So let's just use what people know and what people are comfortable with. It's important that people be comfortable with this sort of nomenclature. As you can see, we can still jump. That's the thing from Inquisition, and thankfully we didn't lose it. And we're going to talk here to a warden, a warden apprentice, I guess, which
See what he has in
doesn't
store
seem
for
to be
us.
a very... I don't know that I like what this appears to me to be. I'll talk about it more after they finish talking.
So Flynn, again, one of the focuses of this game is characters, not causes.
I've been busy with patients, but I'm short on medical supplies. My mentor, Oscar, he should have some. He has a cabin outside the village. If you're out there, tell him you saw Flynn, and they could use his help.
So, I could be wrong here. That person could be not a warden, right? Because we met Miss Woolsey in Awakening, and she was sent by Weishaupt. She was not a warden, but she worked for the wardens as a treasurer. So this person could also just be a physician working for the wardens and not a warden themselves. But I don't like that we're interacting with people who are wardens who went through the joining, but they themselves don't actually need to have been wardens because they're not going to be in a combat role. The purpose of the joining is to give wardens abilities that are combat exclusive. There's no reason for a non-combatant to go through the joining because they're not going to need to sense Darkspawn, they're not going to need to have that extra edge in combat, they're not going to need any of that, right? So it would be needlessly cruel to risk killing somebody that you need for their medical proficiency or their, proficiency with numbers or whatever, just so that they can be working in a non-combat capacity. So if that's the case, if that person was a warden and they're just a physician, I don't like that. They are wearing warden colors, so I think that they might be, but at the same time, they might not be. This is just a nitpick, though. Let's keep going. So here we're talking to Warden
That you
Greta,
need at your side
and
to
she's
stop
just
the gods.
letting you
You look a bit
know
worried.
what's
We're not sure where some
happening
of our wardens
later.
are. Beckett and a few others. We're supposed to check in. We need to look out for each other more than ever. It's just... I know they took Weishaupt hard, and I hope they're okay.
Yeah. So she's asking you to go recover some of their lost wardens because after Weishaupt, some of them aren't taking it too well. Feels a little considering these guys are meant to be, very, very strong. But at the same time, sure, it's understandable. It was an awful event. Even the best soldiers can take some things very hard, even if the wardens are meant to be an army of heroes and not regular soldiers. So yeah, I kind of get it. Let's just skip forward to the next combat encounter. So here we see a few more Darkspawn, namely an ogre. We've talked about this before. Am I the biggest fan of the new Darkspawn appearances? They're kind of growing on me. I kind of like some of this stuff, but would I prefer just the Origins ones? Probably. I kind of like them more. I like them the most. But, these guys are kind of growing on me a little. Got a little stagger on that ogre, so we're doing some damage to him. They're going to be switching to Spell, Orb, and Dagger here, and they say that this is their take on the Knight Enchanter of Inquisition. I would have preferred to have an Arcane Warrior, but hey, you know what? Sure. They didn't want to have mages using armor and swords and shields because they're cowards. So this is what we get. So the ogre is definitely messing this guy up. He's definitely struggling a little, but he's doing his best to keep the ogre away. As you can see, they're very mobile. So just staying away from the fight isn't going to keep you safe. They will close the gap and they will demolish you. So, as you see here, the sword and orb combo, it's kind of not like fully It's not really a Spellblade. As you can see, he's mostly just casting spells from afar. It's just a smaller reach version, so he can be a little bit more competent when fighting hand to hand. And in a group of a mage, an archer rogue, and another mage, you're going to need somebody who's competent in melee. And that's kind of what the dagger orb combo is meant to be. It's just a little help, but it doesn't seem as though it's as focused in melee as the Knight Enchanter or even the Arcane Warrior was. So, you know, we'll see. This might also just be the guy from IGN not being that great at playing video games. We are talking about a games journalist here. This might be his first time playing a video game. So let's go a little further forward. We see here Asan attacking a Blight Boil, which allows us to go in and break this open, and then we're going to meet with Davrin. Further ahead, we're going to need to clear out these. We're going to need to clear out these Darkspawn. I mean them. They're going to need to clear out these Darkspawn, and we'll just skip through this because we've seen the combat. It's very nice combat. It's very nice looking combat. It's not going to be for me though. The mage gameplay. It's just I don't vibe with it. Unless I have a sword and shield or a big-ass sword or 2 weapons, which I'm kind of upset that that's not going to be an option for Warrior and it's a Tash exclusive. I kind of don't like that at all, but, you know, sure, whatever. We haven't had it since Origin. I still think that we should have it, but, you know, we haven't had it since Origin, so I'm not going to cry about it anymore. I've had 10 years to cry about it. So here we see a little stagger that they follow up with the staff. So he knocks him down, and then he switches to the staff and finishes him off with a big burst of energy. Very, very strong, very, very nice looking. I definitely think that this is going to fit a lot of people's mage fantasy, where almost everything that you do in combat is magical. Even your dodges, you're teleporting away from danger rather than fighting. Rather than fighting physically and just jumping around, you're using magic in combat. I like that. I think it fits very nicely with the aesthetic. As I said, it's not for me, but it looks nice. So we talk here with Davrin. So
Bad day at the cauldron.
Here.
What could do that?
What have they been hiding inside?
So something tore through the gate. That's probably not great. Looks like we should probably get moving.
We won't find out standing around here.
Be ready for anything.
I really don't like the walking animation that we're about to see for Davrin. This is not the walking animation of a warrior. This I have never seen somebody who fights for a living walk this stiffly. This is a bad walking animation for someone like Davrin. Hands flared out, very stiff, very erect. That does not fit somebody who fights for a living. This is a very, very bad walking animation. Very bad. The mage is walking more comfortably, more practically, looking around, swaying his shoulders, keeping loose. Neve, who is a Tevinter and who is, like, you know, a noble woman for all intents and purposes, she walks less stiffly than Davrin walks here. This is a very, very bad walking animation for Davrin. I hope, really hope, that this isn't the walking animation for everyone. I really hope that I'm not going to have to see that walking animation every time that when I'm playing my warrior, I'm walking in a cutscene. I'm really hoping that that's not what I'm going to have to see every time. And then this is going to be the final fight of the gameplay, where we're fighting just a bunch of Darkspawn. We see a lot of ghouls here, and they're actually coming out of those little blight boils, which is interesting because before, ghouls were non-Darkspawn who were infected by the blight. So humans, dwarves, elves who, you know, for whatever reason were infected by Darkspawn blood or blades, and they slowly become ghouls, they slowly become servants of the blight. And they weren't really used in combat by the Darkspawn because there weren't that many of them. They were they weren't rare, but they weren't a common enough occurrence that they could be used as shock troops. But now they actually come out of these blight boils that our wannabe Kunari here is destroying. So that actually makes a lot more sense as to why they're being used as shock troops rather than as the infiltration force that we see them being used as in Awakening. When the Darkspawn under the Architect attack Vigil's Keep, they infect some of the servants and make them into ghouls so that they can be sort of a sleeper cell damaging the keep from the inside. But now they're just shock troops, which, you know, fair enough. We're also going to see something interesting here that I like. As you see, the mage is about to go down. Very common if you're a very squishy mage, but Neve uses magic to heal, which is something that everybody asked for to have back in Inquisition because they took it away for some reason. Nobody wanted to take it away, but they took it away anyway. And now it's been given back, and now we're going to see something else that's very interesting. So now our mage is avoiding a lot of these attacks, but that's going to fail right about here. And bonk. We get to revive in combat if we go down based on whether our companions can revive us, which is very nice. I think that that's very, very good. Neve being a mage, she just runs up and heals you. And then we just finish off this battle against these Darkspawn. Very, very nice.
And the encounter's a little...
Wait, I accidentally unmuted. Very, very nice. I like what I've seen. I stated my nitpicks. It's just the walking animation and a little bit like the writing makes me think that there's going to be a little bit of a softness where it shouldn't be, and some things that I'm personally gonna wish were slightly different. But you know, that's Dragon Age as it is nowadays. For you, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a nitpick. It's a personal preference. Overall, I'm liking what we're seeing, except for our Kunari friend here. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay reveal. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about it. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking about this, and let me know if you're gonna pre-order or if you already have. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Cheers.